Welcome, welcome. It's me, Brandy P, with the Yes I Am the Veteran podcast. Sorry about that earlier. We had to try one more time, and I'm glad that we were able to get our guest on. And before I do introduce her again, so she actually has been a guest on our show before, so I'm very thankful she could come on again tonight. But did you maybe want to introduce yourself?
Sure, I would love to introduce myself for those that did not see the last show. My name is Siannon Lee. I'm a U.S. Navy Gulf War veteran. And so I had suffered from Gulf War Gulf War illness, Gulf War syndrome, whatever you want to call it, and quote unquote healed myself from that, cured myself from that, those symptoms that are often referred to as that. That name. So, and I did it holistically and within a very short period of time. So, I like to go out and talk to veterans and help veterans to show them, it's much simpler than they think, than they realize. And, sometimes the struggles that we go through physically and mentally and emotionally with the VA, it, it can be a battle in and of itself. And, we got to support our health so we can help support our families and and our communities and that kind of thing. So I just like to give them the information that helped me.
And that's so important too. I mean, I know for me, like I've written about alternative medicine as well. It is so important to be your own best advocate. And I wanted to try your CBD so bad. But I think
yes,
we use it's amazing. How did you go from that to claims?
I need to send you some of that. Yeah, for sure. I want to send you both because I'd really love to have, your testimony is so powerful, and I've got testimonies from a lot of guys, barbers that stand on their feet all day that have neuropathy that can work because of the CBD. And, that's so big. That's so important. So I started getting into the claims last year with when the 3M combat earplugs case started really making what's the word I want to use? People really started listening to it because for many years people thought it was not real. They didn't believe it, even though they'd seen commercials on it. They thought it was a scam. They talked to their service advisors, their veteran service advisors, and what have you. And those guys don't have they've got a lot of information about a lot of different things, but they don't really, that's not their forte. They don't really know when it comes to those two worlds, they have nothing to do with each other. So a lot of people that really deserve to get compensated for their injuries missed out because they listened to somebody that really didn't have the answers, the right answers for them. So it's unfortunate and it happens. But, if you think that you qualify for a claim or you might qualify, talk to somebody that has more information than you do. And if they don't seem real confident in it, then seek a second opinion. There's nothing wrong with talking to more than one person, right, Brandy?
Yes. Well, not even that. Like for me, like I can't tell you how many Marines records, because for me as a medic, I review records. So I do help veterans that do reach out with like claims if they have questions. And just like I've sat down with many Marines and just review what's in their records. And most people have no idea what's in their medical records and the things they're exposed to and how it's creating their symptoms that they're dealing with currently. And they really don't realize, these things are actively things that have a trickle-down effect. And I mean, for example, asbestos exposure, that's something that I see a lot in medical records. And I mean, there was a patient he had like 18 different like URIs in maybe not even 6 months, 8 months. No idea, no clue that he was exposed, no clue that he was dealing with symptoms to this day that he should be claiming. Like on his VA claims, not even just like a class action lawsuit. So I think really it's important to know, if I'm having these issues, I go to XY person. And then I think as veterans, we tend to be more wary of going to people, especially like outsiders, to ask for help because of the fact that, we do get scared off by VSOs. we do get scared off by a friend that supposedly knows things, but they're not an expert in anything. You know,
Right, right. Yeah,
you hear that
yeah,
one bad story of a cousin that's a friend, that's somebody that you don't know, but
right.
it definitely plays a part of your decision of not being your own best advocate.
Yeah, that is so true. That is so true. For sure. So, I helped. And it's wonderful that you do that for them, because it is really, it. You're right. Most people, Marines, Navy, veterans, Army, Air Force, even Coasties, most people don't know what's in their medical records. They have no clue. You get your entry exam, you get your exit exam. They don't tell you, and I have talked about this before. They don't tell you what's wrong, if there's anything wrong, if they see anything wrong. When it came to the hearing, a lot of people didn't think that they qualified because the doctor never told them that they had hearing loss or hearing issues. And usually,
Shit.
yeah, if they did, they just give them hearing aids, which sure fixes the problem, but um, it's still something. Yeah, yeah, kind of. But it's still something that they got, from their military time in service, and it was because they were, given faulty equipment, and it wasn't, just faulty. The company knew that it was faulty. It wasn't like, oh, our bad, we had no idea. No, they bought it knowing it, and then
Wow.
they sold it to the government anyways, knowing that it was faulty and thinking, well, they got away with it for 15 years, minimally 15 years, if not really more, because I was from Gulf War time. I know the earplugs that we got really didn't work. um,
Yeah, I
you
didn't.
know,
I was on the flight line. I agree.
yeah, it didn't work. So, but when it comes to the claims, whether you qualify or don't qualify, that's, it is what it is. And the attorneys put together the most, um, the tightest case, so that they can take that case to the judge and go, look, this is proven, this guy had 100% hearing when he came in. It is a fact, it is a statistic that every single veteran has some hearing loss when they leave the military. It's
Yes.
just, it is. So, and especially, of course, the infantry guys,
Oh, yeah.
and for them, that's a really important, hearing is pretty important anyways, but when it comes to their livelihood, what kind of jobs do those guys take? They take the security jobs, they take the first responder jobs. Guess what? They need to be able to hear, and be able to hear well,
Yeah.
right? And if they lost some of their hearing during the military service, they might not get a job for that. If they lost a certain amount, they wouldn't be able to go to the police, and be police, or a lot of things. So it's it definitely has a trickle down effect, like you said.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the thing. Like, and I always explain this to the veterans when I review their records. Like, your original enlistment physical, that 8893, we as veterans, we need to look at that as like an inspection of the goods, right? Like, when we would go overseas, they would inspect your vehicle and they
Yep.
would like fix all the like the little dings and dents and like
Yeah.
hair marks because, at the end of the day, they don't want to be held liable. But when you
Right.
get out, that separation physical is like your exit exam. So
Yep.
really, if you were to look at your records, you should be comparing that physical to the one where you get out because quite
Yes.
literally those are like that's in essence like your anything that happened to you in between one and the other, you should be entitled to compensation. And us as
Absolutely.
veterans we are so afraid that, well, I got good enough the first time. You're getting 60% and you should really should be at 100, and
Hmm.
at the end of the day, like it really does affect you. And things like this, like, veterans, we're not told enough. We just read like advertisements, so we think that we glean enough information and we really don't. Like, um,
Right.
for example, like how would like a veteran know if they would qualify for a claim in this particular instance?
So yeah, this the Camp Lejeune case has been really bubbling, on the under the underbelly for many, many years. It is a well-known fact. Everyone could tell you, locals and anybody that's been there, they are always told, do not drink the water. Period. Right? Don't drink the water, and they know that. Um, so this claim actually is very pretty simple, pretty straightforward, as far as if you lived in and around the Camp Lejeune and or New River um, for 30 consecutive days between August of 1953 to December of 1987.
Wow, that's like 40 years almost.
Right. That's a lot of people, right? And you suffered specific diagnoses, generally speaking. Cancers obviously are number one on the list.
Of course.
There are other complications as far as women go for fertility
Yep.
and that kind of thing. But the majority, and for their children, like malformations and that kind of thing. But yeah, for the most part, it's a lot of different cancers. For specific, for specific cancers, people can certainly reach out to me. I can tell them we're getting everything, put together on a landing page so you can see, if you're going to qualify. We've got some, marketing material that we're putting together so people, understand. And it, if you have someone that passed away, of course you're still, and you have a power of attorney for them. Um, you can also put in a claim for them as well and receive compensation for that pain and suffering.
Wow.
So,
So,
and
so
you do
that's
have to be honorably discharged, which I don't necessarily agree with, but I'm not the one who
you
writes the
punch
rules.
your commander in the face. Like that has nothing to do with drinking the water.
I
I'm
know.
sorry. Like all I have to say is in England, I did so many confinement physicals for Navy and Marines. Speaking of happy birthday, Navy.
Right.
But no, honestly though, like that should not absolutely not have a bearing on if they should be able to claim or not. I
Not at
mean, you
all.
kind of get the green weenie enough as it is. Like really, your discharges like that should have really have no part of your pain and suffering for having to hydrate. Like that's just a basic human right at that point.
It is. And so for that, I say there is a similar, it's all civil suit, everything really in law right now, it is civil.
Hmm.
Ultimately, it boils down to injury. If you've caused somebody injury, that's what it boils down to. And so there is a similar suit that's not necessarily geared toward veterans. It's geared toward the people in the state of North Carolina. And the state of North Carolina itself is suing 3M and DuPont and the makers of fire foam.
Hmm.
Some people know it as rhino snot. It's AFFF. It is the number one fire retardant for the last like 70 years. So it's been found in contaminated water in over 1,000 bases nationwide. Every Navy ship, every military ship, and firefighting unit in this country.
That's kind of horrifying.
It is horrifying. It really is. So that's kind of out there as well in this mass tort kind of legal game, if you want to call it. And people need to understand the difference between the mass tort and the class action lawsuit, as you had mentioned. So a mass tort, the major difference is that you're going to be evaluated on your own personal injury in and of itself. So it's not they're taking the worst of the worst and presenting it before the judge and trying to get as much as possible. They're going to take each individual case in front of a judge, and whatever is in that file that is yours, you will get compensated based on that. So
Hmm.
that's a good thing because that means you get a lot more money as a claimant, as opposed to a good dinner out, right, on a class action lawsuit. So people really need to understand that is that's a big major difference between the two, and it's worthwhile to take a half an hour out of your time to answer the questions, to get to get a case file in. They take time because obviously there's from 1953 to 1987, that's a lot of people, right? And they want to make sure that everyone has full exposure to what's trying to be done for them. So they take it in waves. excuse me, they take it in waves. So people, that get their claims in early, they do kind of go through like trials and those kind of things. Um, but it is, if you qualify, you will have a really very strong chance of getting a good size compensation. And it's also important to know that compensation has nothing to do with even you getting disability benefits, because you still deserve those as well. The
Yes.
two don't um, they don't connect. They're two different worlds. So even if you have a claim in, I would still say go see a veteran service officer and get benefits starting as soon as you can as well.
Absolutely. And a lot of veterans, they don't know that you can have like an appeal and you can file for a new claim as two separate cases at the same time. And I wanted to say a quick shout out to our brother Shannon Book. He is an amazing advocate in the veteran community and a phenomenal musician. And he is big on, and he's a doc as well. So it's pretty amazing that he's still helping the veteran community any way he can. But what would you say is a common misconception people have about water contamination at Camp Lejeune? Because you hear a lot of people giving grief to people that are taking it seriously, and us as veterans, we tend to have that dark sense of humor in all things. But I mean, it's important to shed light on things like this because at the end of the day, veterans may not realize how much money that they're missing out on by being their own best advocates.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, I think, one of the misconceptions is that which we just spoke of, as far as the amount of compensation, that you're entitled to, and that it's worth your time. The other, I would say, misconception in general is, when they tell you don't drink the water, you need to keep in mind that when you take a shower in that same water, it's like 1,000 times more toxic when it's
Yeah.
on your whole entire body, which is your largest, your skin is your largest organ.
Yeah.
So, and the hotter the water, the more that it's like sucked. I mean, you're a sponge,
Yeah. If
you
you're a
know,
bath person, like you're just basically like floating in it and
you're
absorbing all
floating
those
in it.
hormones.
Exactly. Exactly. So, um, it's, oh, I didn't drink it. It couldn't have come from that. Well, yeah, it could very easily. I mean, 30 days, 30 consecutive days. That's kind of scary. Like, what does that tell you? Seriously. I mean, you could have been TDY for 30 days. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, it's one of those those forever toxins that like get into your body. It's very difficult to get out. The fluoridated um chemicals are really, really difficult to get out of the body, and it takes many years to do it. But if you're not doing it and you're just adding to it, um then it's, you're setting yourself up for something, you know um just a quick, we talked about some of the cancers: bladder cancer, breast cancer, cervical cancer, kidney cancer, liver cancer, um, leukemia, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, um, lung cancer. All of those are all included in this as well. So
Wow. And I mean, that's pretty comprehensive. And a lot of us, we don't realize how things that we were exposed to in our military service really do affect our everyday life. I mean, even now, like, I mean, I know I pay for it very heavily just being physically injured, but I mean, there's many people that they have cancers, like maybe their kid was on the swim team, or I mean, not swim team, but like, it's the Marines, like, like maybe they're at the pool, like maybe it was a summer, or maybe, it was family visiting. Like, I mean,
right,
it's so wide. And I mean, especially when we're in the service, like, family come out to visit, or, we visit other, brothers or sisters in arms, things like that. And, Marines, we all tend, like the Marines especially, they tend to, go and, want to hang out with their friends, even just
right,
visiting, things like that. You don't realize, like, just how like little things really do add up.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely. And to say, I mean, what, 1987 was the cutoff. I mean, that's how many years ago,
yes.
uh, you know, going on 30 years, whatever. And for them to come out with this now, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like,
Years.
okay, 30-year span of people suffering from cancers. Okay, now we're pinpointing, where it came from, and making up for it, hopefully.
Absolutely. And so, where can veterans find you for more information if they have any questions, or if they maybe aren't sure, do they qualify or not?
Yeah, definitely. Reach out. Like I said, we're kind of in the beginning building stages of it, of getting the marketing information out there so people can self-select and be like, I was there, during those times. I suffered one of these cancers. Let's build a strong file so that we can bring it to a judge, and you can get some compensation. It's not really, I mean, it's about the money, but it's not about the money. It's
Mhm.
there's always, money makes things in life, can make it a little bit easier. A lot of people go, well, I don't care about the money. I don't want the money. Well, okay, that's fine. Um, that's great. Guess what? There's 100 nonprofit veteran organizations out there
Yep.
that need that money.
Reading. Yep.
So if you don't want it, that's fine. Let us know, and we will donate it to any of those organizations
Yeah,
that you.
that's
I
your
mean,
blood money.
it really is, and it bothers me when people say that, because there are so many veterans that do need it, and even if you think that you don't, maybe you don't at that time. I would hope that everyone wouldn't, but someone in your family at some time you may. And as I said, so many veteran organizations that do need it, and veterans that do need it. So they're still, part of your family in that sense. We have a bond for that. And so, some people take that like to heart. So,
Yeah.
it's not much for you to do that, and donate it, whatever it is, to 22 to none, or the people that do the that service dogs, and
Yeah.
wounded warriors, all these different places. So
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah, they can reach out to me on my messenger, at Siannon Lee, SIANNONLEE, on LinkedIn as well. And or email me directly. My email is hello, HELLO, at environwell.com. It's EINVIRONWELL. So it's like environwell.com. And just hello. So if they want more information, want to see if they would, qualify for putting a claim in, absolutely, reach out to me, and I can help you get that started. We work with the top attorneys in these, on these cases. The tort law is a totally different animal than just injury, your injury attorneys per se. It's totally different. And so there's only a few people that are in there, and you obviously you want to work with the best of the best people that have a heart for veterans. They want to see them, you know, they want to give back to them, and see them, be taken care of for the sacrifice that they made for our company, or for our country.
No, absolutely. You're absolutely right. I've said it many times on the show. We are our own best advocates. And if we don't stand up for ourselves, people sure as hell aren't going to do it unless we start fighting for ourselves first.
Yeah,
And then the rest will follow. So, if you're not even sure and you message and, maybe you don't qualify for that, but it gets you on the path to maybe fight for going back and doing your VA claim, or going and doing something else to advocate for yourself. Let
right,
that be like the first pebble that you throw into that lake, and you never know where you may end up, really.
right.
For me, like I was at 90 for about a decade, and, I'd fought many times. I had gone, I had done appeal and I had lost, and, I had like had all kinds of bad experiences doing it. But when I was divorced, I was like, at the end of the day, 90 to 100 to $1,000 a month, that's rent. So at
Yeah,
the end of the day, like, I tried this last time, And in Texas, we have Texas Veterans Commission, in addition to the VSOs that are more expertly trained in specific things like appeals.
Yeah.
And so I was very thankful that I was represented. And that last time, that's when I got my 100. So you really never know what you can accomplish with claims in any realm, unless you really fight for
Yeah.
yourself. Like we fight for other people or other causes. Like for example, a job. That job, most likely, if you were to drop dead today, they will most likely replace you in 2 weeks.
Right.
Like we forget how expendable
Yeah.
we are in the scale of things. And so, I mean, we really need to take more time for ourselves to really work on things that could help us in our own independent lives. Just
Definitely. Yeah. That's you can't ring the bell loud enough for that. That's for sure. Because if you don't do it, no, for yourself, nobody else, nobody else can or will do it. Really,
yeah,
they really won't.
yeah.
So yeah, that's how like I said, we're just getting the marketing information out so people can self-select and find out. And so with that said, we also have a very prominent person that is working on our team.
I was gonna ask about
And
that.
yes, so yeah, so we all, people of our age, I suppose, all remember the movie Aaron Brockovich.
Yes.
And yeah, so one of my favorites. And Julia Roberts played Aaron and did a great job. So Erin Brockovich has signed on. She's been working with veterans actually for a while on different issues like this. But she is kind of the queen of water contamination, so to speak. Since PG&E and that went down. So she really, she knows like what you do, really getting into people's records and being able to pull things out that can make really strong cases. So she is on our team, and she is going to be coming out and speaking in answering people's questions as well on this case specifically. So we would like to, of course, have her on your show. So
Well, she's been a very large inspiration to the show, as you can see. But honestly, I think she's amazing. Her case is a landmark case. It is still studied in law classes today. I know I read quite a bit about her when I would take my classes. And so I have the utmost respect for her, and we are absolutely honored to have her come on our show, our humble podcast. And like I said, my heart is for the veterans and advocating for them. So I mean, for me to meet someone that is so crucial in helping so many people in her life, and now she's helping the veteran community. I know that there's a lot of veterans out there that are like, no way.
yeah,
And I heard that she had worked with veterans, but this is
yeah,
the first I've heard that it was on such a large case for veterans specifically, which I think is amazing that she is lending her platform in that way to really help the veteran community as far as education. Even if it's just the veterans will stop and listen to her because
right,
it's who she is, and maybe they take away something and they end up finding out that they're eligible for a claim. Like I,
right,
I just saw a video that went viral this summer about the VA clothing allowance, and it got almost 23,000 views.
mm,
And for me, veterans, we don't realize just how much money we leave on the table.
yeah,
And
for sure,
I had so many veterans reach out to me and say, I had no idea about this allowance. I didn't know until I saw your video, and with Erin, I mean, for her, like people just seeing her, they'll stop, and that's them stopping those few minutes may be something that very greatly impacts their life.
yeah, for sure, and that's that's our hope, and we really believe that she's got a strong voice in this arena, and to be coming in, and she really put herself out and wants to be involved. So I think this is probably you know one of the biggest you know this could be probably even bigger than the 3M Combat Earplugs case, I would say. Yeah, for sure. And then, you know, the fire foam is probably, you know, they might be very close together, because that's, you know, that's a lot of people. That's an entire, you know,
generation of Marines, if you think about it, from
yeah,
the 50s to like the late 80s. That's like a general's career span, really. You know,
for
like
sure.
it's something that you really don't think about. So this is our littlest guest podcast. This is Aurelia. So we're gonna. She came to draw the raffle winner. She was excited. She helped me sort
Yay.
all the tickets. So what we're doing, we're actually doing a raffle. So we were raising funds to get a veteran who had been on Tattooing Nonprofit's waitlist for over 3 years the memorial tattoo that she deserves after she survived a suicide bomber attack, and she did end up losing her leg. So I'm very thankful that we've had the outpouring of support that we've had for this. Thank you guys all so much. Thank you, Fox Valley Kydex. Thank you, Drive Tanks. Thank you, like to the Block Stars. We've had a lot of veteran support in great ways. If anyone wants to continue, we still do have the ink pens that we will postpone just because they are custom made ink pens, and we just had them. We just received them last night. And they are beautiful. I can't tell you enough how awesome they are. They're actually from Houston, and the donor wished to remain anonymous. So we're going to quickly go and we're going to do the first drawing. So this is going to be for the 9-line collapsible cooler. So we thank you. We had a female paratrooper donate it. So it's a pretty cool collapsible cooler, the Crown Royal set, and the Fox Valley Kydex Marines wallet. So thank you again, Eric. So, all right.
Number one.
All right. Are you going to
number one? We start. I do one. Number 1 and 2. You do number 3 and 4.
Yeah, buddy. All right. You got to make it look good. Come on, Nuggie Vanna. You got this. All right. What's her name? What's his name? Can you see it? It says Versace Chris. What? Some of these people told it Christmas bar. Okay. Well, it's okay. When I was running for Miss Veteran America, we had the winner. Her name was actually Legally Crazy. That was her legal name. Yeah, I didn't believe her until she showed me her license.
Wow.
But she won the whole thing. It was hilarious. Okay, so this is number 2. So this is for the Drive Tanks flamethrower. The flamethrower experience. Okay, who won it? Is it Miss Emily? Oh, is she gonna be mad? Wait, you can't show them the ticket, silly. So it's Daniel M. I'm sorry, Emily, you didn't win it. It's okay. You can still come out with me and Rosie when we go. So,
I want to open this thing.
So May Criers, so she is 97. She is the last surviving Rosie. She is coming on our show next week.
Congratulations, you to that one.
Winners. Okay. All right. So she actually wanted to go on the assault course with the tanks, and they agreed.
This time I'm
so we're going to be going back out there.
This time I'm going to close my eyes.
Anyone wanting to check out Drive Tanks, I can't recommend it enough. They have 14 different tanks you can drive and fire. It's an interactive World War II history museum. So everything there works, which is amazing. It's the only place I can do it.
There you go.
That's not what it says.
I don't
So
know
so okay, so this is for number 3. So this is for the pampering basket, and I do not think it was a lady that won it. That means he's gonna definitely get out of trouble with his girlfriend. So Merc won number 3. Okay, so I think this is the one where I told him he can get out of trouble with his girlfriend. All right, sweetie. Thank you very much, little Nuggie Vanna. Yeah, right. All right. Come on, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.
Congratulations.
But all right, guys. So I'll be messaging the winners.
Which one number 4?
No, buddy. We're gonna give them a little time to answer that one. Remember?
Okay.
Because we just got the ink pens, buddy. Thank you, Nuggie Vanna. Okay. But yes.
So we're waiting on the ink pen drawing.
Yep. So we're waiting on the ink pen drawing. So each pen is worth $150 each. It's for 3. Yep. So the actual person that donated them crafts them in Houston.
Wow.
So yeah, they're custom like ballpoint pens. They're gorgeous. One of them looks like a tiger, and it has like the tiger's eye in the middle. And then yeah, there's some pretty cool colors. Maggie picked out 2 and I picked out 1. So it was pretty interesting. And he actually sent, I wish I could like thank him on air, but I can't. But he actually sent knife scales too, because I make knives. That's why my voice is so hoarse, because I was yelling at Marines in the shop, of course. But and it's loud, They use my military voice and stuff. It's a little rusty. But what was I gonna say? But yes, so we're definitely gonna be posting a lot about Rose. So May is actually never done a podcast. This is her very first podcast. So we
Wow.
are very honored that she is coming on it. But she's a lot to say to us women. So
Cool.
definitely, yeah, she has a lot to say, and she's a phenomenal lady, and she's literally America's grandmother, quite literally. Obama actually had, remember when he gave that speech saying women equality, we're 90% of the way there,
Yeah.
that famous speech he did. Well, May actually wrote him, and she said, no, we're not. And if it took 70 years to get us there, how long is it going to take for us to get the last 10%? And he wrote her a letter back apologizing. So,
Wow.
yes. So for me, I was pretty blown away by her. She's still so busy. And she doesn't look at herself like she's busy. And I'm just like, you do more stuff than I do. And I am a fraction of your age, and I have full respect for you. But hi, Fernando. And hi, Jim. But before we do wrap up tonight, I did want to hear some final thoughts from you.
Yeah, final thoughts. So, my final thoughts are to say, your health is 100% mental, because your body doesn't go where your mind doesn't push it. And so it's really, your mindset is super important. I think, as veterans, we tend to, not place as much value on ourselves as we should.
Yes.
And so, just to say that, you are worth it, to do this, you deserve it. So if you think that you don't deserve it, you do deserve it. And no one deserves it any more or less than anyone else, So, yeah, get your questions answered. Tune into the show, and when Erin comes on, ask her questions if you have questions. This obviously, we all know, is not her first rodeo. She's been, doing it for a long time now, So I think it's going to be a powerful force to be reckoned with. And yeah, just take care of you and take care of your family. There's no shame in it. There's no shame in it. It's it is the honorable thing to do for you and your family, because these companies don't deserve to get away with what they've done. And again, just like 3M, they knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing when they did it, and they did it anyways for the good old dollar. And so that good old dollar, they deserve to pay back in restitution for the people that actually suffered while they were out enjoying their vacations and their yachts and their lovely cars and their lovely houses. And you or your family member suffered for that. And let the tide turn.
Yep. I mean, for me, like, it drove me crazy that the VA claims representatives, like, they would get a bonus based off their denial rate. And that's just sad, and I couldn't believe that. So a friend of mine, she worked for them, and she told me, yeah, I don't know how I felt about that, because I'm a veteran, and I don't know. And, at the end of the day, we do need to be our own best advocates. Like, imagine how much better, like, a lot of the veteran community would be if we all took that mentality and ran with it. If not for this particular case, if for their claims, or maybe they did a trickle down and they just went all full force and did all of it. Imagine, like, what if they granted you all of those things? Imagine if you got an increase. Imagine if you got that water contamination, like the amount, the judgment. Like, imagine, like, if you did all of these things and they succeeded.
Right.
Definitely food for thought. Thank you again so much for coming on. It's always a pleasure having you. And
thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I have so much fun with you. And you just, full of energy, full of, life and sparkle. And even for the things that you've gone through, bring that to other people. So
Thank you. And absolutely, and it's important. And that's, why I do the things that I do, because of the fact that, and I know what it's like to, feel truly lost, or feel that, the system has kind of moved on, and you're still there trying to scrape by and survive. And we get so depressed that we don't really look at taking care of ourselves. So you coming
Right.
on and talking about, being your own best advocate, and, why, is it's so important. And,
Yeah.
in something like this, there's not enough information given, and a lot of us tend to go off of the snarky comments, or like a halfway read article that someone that was an influencer wrote on Instagram or something that had no
Right.
training in it.
Right.
So at the end of the day, reach out, ask questions, please stay tuned, and Erin will definitely answer questions that are asked, and I know absolutely you will answer any questions that veterans would have if they were to reach out and email you as well. But I think it's great that you guys are working for the veteran community. My heart is for the veterans. So, things that are here to help them, I'm always here for it. But absolutely, guys, definitely reach out, and we will see you guys back on next week. And if anyone has any questions, if anybody wants to reach out, please, and you can't remember maybe the email, please reach out to me and I'll absolutely connect you guys. And we are on, please follow us on Instagram. We also have our YouTube channel now for the Assignment Veteran Podcast. And you can also message me directly, and I'll be happy to help as well. But have a good rest of the night, guys. And like I always do say, be good or be good at it. Bye.